The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has said a total of 339 million liters of petrol was distributed to 63 depots across the country in 7 days. Data from the Nnpcl and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority on Monday showed that the product was sent out between February 25th and March 3rd. According to weekly National PMS Evaluation and Dispatch report, 339 million liters of petrol were distributed across the state, with Lagos getting the lion's share of 1.73 billion liters. Delta State got 610 million liters, Oyo received 531 million liters, and Ogun had 441 million liters to top up the list of states that got petrol during the period. With a daily average distribution of about 48 million liters and 63 million daily average, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority said 79% of all evaluation took place at the top 25 loading depots within minimum evacuation of 5 million liters. Group Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mili Kyari, had last year said Nigeria consumes 66 million liters of petrol daily. The country has been battling a shortage of petrol since October, which forced it to rise to 500 naira per liter before dropping back to 185 naira in February. The Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria has urged the government to automate data in the downstream segment of the country's oil sector. Speaking last weekend during a virtual event organized by the association to commemorate World International Data Day with the theme, "The Importance of Data and Automation in the Downstream Business," the head of political consulting, VII SAUS, Ipomosa IQ Barrel, noted that the data can be used for demand forecast. According to him, the demand forecasting process involves collecting data from a variety of sources such as historical sales data, fuel consumption patterns, weather forecasts, and economic indicators. He said the data is then analyzed during statistic models and machine learning algorithms to identify patterns and trends and to make inferences or predictions about future demands. Also speaking on data analytics for downstream business optimization, he revealed that to improve supply chain and route optimization, Ghana launched the bulk road vehicle tracking system to track the movement of petroleum products from depot to retail outlets in Ghana. The Vice President of Crude Argus Media, James Gouda, speaking on the topic, the importance of fundamentals and price data in downstream markets, said price is the mechanism by which marginal supply meets demand in a free market, adding that transparent fundamental data are key to this process. The Central Bank of Nigeria has issued operational guidelines for open banking in Nigeria to ensure stability in the nation's financial system. The Apex Bank, in the circular dated March 7, 2023, said the guidelines will create greater access to customer-focused data sharing between banks and third-party firms. The circular signed by the Director of Payment Services Management Department, Musa Jimo, entitled Issuance of Operational Guidance for Open Banking in Nigeria, said the guidelines were part of the central bank's mandate to ensure financial stability in Nigeria. According to the circular, all stakeholders were mandated to ensure strict compliance with the guidelines and other regulations. The circular said the adoption of open banking in Nigeria also aims to enhance efficiency, competition, and access to financial services. It said all stakeholders are required to ensure strict compliance with the guidelines and all other regulations as the CBN continues to monitor developments and issue guidelines as may be appropriate. A renewed constitutional lawyer, Professor Awuwalu Yadudu, and a human rights activist, Femi Falana, have described the refusal by the Central Bank of Nigeria to comply with the Supreme Court judgment on the old Naira notes as contemptuous and the highest disregard for the rule of law. Last Friday, in a unanimous judgment, a 7-member panel of justices of the Supreme Court, presided over by Justice Iyango Koro, ordered the circulation of the old Naira note alongside the new ones until December 31. The panel held that the directive by the President, Muhammadu Buhari, to the Central Bank of Nigeria for the redesign and withdrawal of the old 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira notes without consultation with the state, the Federal Executive Council, and the National Council of State and other stakeholders was unconstitutional. Days after the judgment, the Apex Bank and the federal government are yet to act on it, thus the confusion in the country. Traders, transporters, and fuel station attendants have insisted that they will not accept the old Naira note until the CBN announces a new directive. Speaking in separate interviews with newsmen yesterday, Yadudu and Falana said it was quite unfortunate that President Muhammadu Buhari would allow this disregard for the rule of law to be his farewell. Falana particularly said commercial banks do not acquire CBN's authorization to comply with the Supreme Court ruling. Consumers of goods and services and companies paid 5.34 trillion naira as taxes to the government in 2022. This represents a 42.14% increase from the 3.76 trillion naira that was raised in 2021. The 5.34 trillion naira was raised from value-added tax and company income tax. In 2022, the government raised 2.51 trillion naira from value-added tax and 2.83 trillion naira from company income tax. According to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, company income tax is a 30% tax imposed on the profit of companies, and value-added tax is a 7.5% consumption tax paid when goods are purchased and services rendered and borne by the final consumer. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, manufacturing, information and communication, and mining and quarrying sector are the largest contributors to local value-added tax. For company income tax, manufacturing, information and communication, and financial and insurance are the top 3 sectors that contribute to local tax. Low crop yields, post-harvest losses, food safety concerns, and weak implementation of relevant policies, among others, are stagnating agricultural production in Nigeria, the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization said on Wednesday. It said this was part of findings contained in the latest Nigeria Food System Assessment Profile that was conducted in 2022. The assessment was a joint initiative launched by the European Union, Food and Agricultural Organization, and the French Research Center for Agricultural Development in collaboration with the government of Nigeria. The UN agency said Nigeria's population was estimated to hit 400 million by 2050, but noted that large food deficits remain a cardinal challenge to the food system. It, however, stated that Nigeria had the potential to feed its growing population into the coming decades, adding that this food self-sufficiency could be attained during production technologies and entrenching sustainable and inclusive food system in the structure, governance, and administration. It said in a statement issued in Abuja on Wednesday that the purpose of the assessment was to identify key constraints and entry points for understanding the bottlenecks to sustainable food systems. Ekiti State Government has approved the establishment of the fund designed to receive, manage and invest in a diversified portfolio of medium and long-term assets for the state and for future generation of indigenes and residents. The special advisor to the governor on media, Yinka Oyebode, said approval for the establishment of the fund, named Ekiti State Wealth Fund, was one of the decisions reached at the meeting presided over by Governor Abiodun Oyebanji on Wednesday. Oyebode, in a statement titled Ekiti to Establish State Wealth Fund, said the bill on the establishment of the State Wealth Fund would be presented to the State House of Assembly for legislative processing and subsequent passage into law. It would be the fourth executive bill to be presented to the Assembly this year. The governor's media advisor said Ekiti State Wealth Fund would, among other things, build a savings base for the indigenes and residents of the state, provide for investment in the promotion of research and development in modern technologies and innovations. It will also provide stabilization support to the state government in times of economic stress, as well as manage other funds and investments for the state. Nigerian companies are suffering from scarcity of tech workers, a report by SAP Africa has disclosed. According to the report, nearly all organizations in Nigeria and Africa are expected to experience a tech skill-related challenge in 2023. According to the report titled Africa's Tech Skills Scarcity Revealed, Nigerian companies are the most hit when it comes to scarcity of tech skills. It stated that all the Nigerian companies it surveyed said they had suffered a negative impact due to a lack of tech skills, compared to 60% in Kenya and 78% in South Africa. In a virtual event, the enterprise application software firm further stated that the Nigerian firms were struggling to attract top tech skills. The firm stated that a lack of these skills was having a negative effect on Nigeria and the continent's digital transformations efforts. Still to come, Africa's airline record 124% passenger traffic growth. Details and more news update after this commercial break.